Hi everyone, my name is Jolan Shir. I'm a marketer. Today we're going to talk about Net Promoter Score, and also we're going to discuss what is it exactly, how it's calculated, some examples of calculations, some limitations of NPS, and also true value behind this metric. So let's start with first, what is Net Promoter Score? The Net Promoter Score is a customer experience metric that helps companies to better understand their customers' experience, their satisfaction, and also their loyalty. And the creator of this metric is called Frederick Reichheld. And according to him, actually, NPS is divided in two parts. There is like a one large NPS concept, and also there's a small NPS. So the large NPS concept is basically a philosophy about being focused on your customers and also making them love the brand and also kind of serving them, trying to find out what they don't like and also improving those areas. But the small NPS concept is basically a scoring system which is actually have been very famous and used by lots of companies. And today we're gonna see how it's actually working. So it is a single survey question, and you might see in below part. Also, you might actually have answered this question in the past. So usually companies send this question and they ask on a scale from 0 to 10, how likely are you to recommend our product or service to a friend or colleague? And then you are given 11 numbers from 0 to 10 and you select one, and then after collecting all the numbers that the customers gave, they find the NPS score. But how it is actually calculated, let's see. So, depending on what numbers the customers select, they are grouped into three categories. And three categories are these. The first, promoters, and then we have passives, and also we have detractors. So anyone who select from 0 to 6, as you can see in the box, they're called detractors. They're kind of people who really not like the company. They're kind of customers who had very bad experience with the company. And then we have 7 and 8. They're called passives. They are kind of satisfied but not loyal customers. And also 9 or 10, let's say if the customer selected 9 or 10, they're called promoters. They're very happy, loyal, and also very satisfied customers. And how it is actually calculated, the first we're gonna find the percentage of the promoters, and then we're gonna find the detractors, and the percentage of detractors will be subtracted from the percentages of the promoters, and in this way we'll find our NPS score. And the range for NPS is actually starting from -100 up until +100. It happens when the worst possible and also best possible cases happen. When worst possible case could happen, it is when everyone selected from 0 to 6. And the best possible case happens when everyone selected 9 or 10. And you might ask what score is good. In this case, actually, it's very changing. Every industry has its own NPS benchmark, and you can compare with your peers and competitors. But in general, anything below 0 is seen as not good score. Definitely needs improvement. From 0 to 30 is a good. 30 to 70 is a great, and 70 to 100 is excellent, top class companies. And let's see one example, like how it's calculated. So we asked our question and we gave this 11 numbers, and the customers, let's say we have 10 customers and they selected these numbers. We can see here that we have in the score data, we have 2, 4, 6, and others. And first we're going to find out promoters. And as you remember, the promoters are the ones who gave only 9 or 10s, and we can see we have only 3 people here. And then we find our passives, 7 and 8. There we have 2 people who gave 7 and 8, and then detractors, which is the rest 5 people. And since the total respondents are 10, so in this case, the 3 people makes 30% and detractors 5 people makes 50%. And NPS will be 30 minus 50, and we will have -20, which is not a good score. And I would like to also talk about some limitations of NPS, because according to some user experience leaders, there are several limitations of NPS. I also agree with that. So first of all, it is 11-point scale, and which is actually means let's say when we ask this question, we are giving 11 numbers, and sometimes people might not really know the difference between these numbers. For example, for someone, six could be a good number, for someone, it could be bad. So I think in this case, maybe some kind of guidance or knowledge about how NPS is calculated for customers would be a good indicator so they can be very fair when they select these numbers. Another limitation is score changes in NPS. So the small real improvements can show no change according to NPS. For example, let's say a score of six is treated the same as zero, which might not make sense for some people. And also a score of eight is treated as same as seven, but a move from eight to nine will have a big jump in NPS score. And another one is predicting future behavior because in NPS survey we are asking like how likely are you to recommend our product or service to a friend? Like, will you recommend us? But maybe a better question would be, have you recommended us in the last 30 days? It would be maybe more real numbers because maybe if someone said, yes, I will recommend you, but maybe in in the future they don't really recommend it. So actually, there is another metric. It's called earned advocacy score, which is actually found by asking the customers, have you referred, like, have you recommended us? And then they either choose yes or no. And then the EAS score can be found by percentage of actual promoters and then minus the percentage of actual detractors. And the another limitation is it is very easy to game manipulate these NPS numbers, especially when these surveys are asked right after very successful purchase by customers, or some actually marketers or some people might offer some kind of like gift cards, rewards for customers to complete this survey, which can actually be biased results in the NPS score. And also some people try to manipulate this survey by putting the 10 in the first selection and then all the way to the zero so that the customers can choose 10 first, that it can affect the NPS score positively. And even it could be also like very negative impact too, because sometimes the companies try to send this survey question a lot of times for the customers to complete it, and it can be seen as aggressive and it can negatively affect the survey results. And I think in general, there's a true value behind net promoter scoring system, and I think it is happening when there is a follow-up question, when the next question is asked why, what's the main reason that you gave us this number. And actually some companies use this a lot and they try to customize it, and in this way they can learn what users struggle with, like what they loved about the product or company, what annoyed them, and what made them to stay or leave or love the brand. And this is actually very important because they can collect all these feedbacks and then come up with better improvement areas. And in still actually the companies still use this NPS. It's very easy to use and also faster track. You can compare with your peers and also competitors, and you can, with this insight, you can improve your customer experience. But because of these limitations, the companies don't use it alone. They combine it with other metrics and also tools such as customer interviews, getting really qualitative data, customer satisfaction surveys, and also retention, churn rates, and also earned advocacy score, which I mentioned in the past slide. So this is overall, I think, Net Promoter Score is still useful. Companies can use it as a direction and approach, and also can learn all this insight by asking the next follow-up question: why they gave this number? What is the reason that they chose this number? And they can grab these qualitative insights and they can improve the areas that needs to be improved. And we shouldn't forget these limitations. We shouldn't only rely on NPS, but we should also combine with other metrics as well. That's it. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. And thank you for your attention. Bye.